Welcome back, everybody. This is another episode of Good Earners reviewing The Sopranos. And here on Good Earners, we like to talk about family, finessing, finances, and feelings in the world of Tony Soprano, bringing you a new perspective, a fly perspective, and a black perspective. Today, we're doing another Back of the Bean episode we alluded to and spoke to last week. But before we get into that, I got one of my capos here, Big Rich Town. How you doing, bro?
Doing well, brother. Doing well. How you feeling?
Feeling good, man. Feeling good as always, man. I love talking Sopranos, man. It never gets old.
Never. Never. As you can tell, we have documentaries coming out 25 years later.
Yes.
They even mentioned about that, like how you can. This is a show they made intentionally to continue to be watched.
I mean, this being in the meme era just works even more. It just gives it so much more legs. Like having just having a place to make funnier and extending the life of the Sopranos in this area couldn't have worked better.
Mm-hmm. Agreed, my brother. I'm looking forward to discussing this. I know you might have some interesting takes.
Yes.
As only Mo could.
Yes, definitely. But before we get into it, we want to shout out our other capo, Spike Lou. He will be back with us next week when we get into our season 6. I'm thinking after this doc, I'm kind of thinking calling it season 6 and 7 because that's the way David Chase presented it. So
I mean, you gonna give us a raise?
A little bit, huh?
All right. I'm about to say since instead of 6B, you're gonna give us a raise if we go 7 seasons. You ain't gonna pull the HBO on us, are you?
We'll call it C. Never mind. We're gonna call it 6A and 6B.
Nah, yeah. Hey, that's grimy how the industry works. We're gonna call it 6B, so we don't have to give them a raise. That's crazy.
I wonder if that was an entourage thing too.
I know there were some negotiations. There were some I forget which season. There were some contract negotiations. I think not even negotiations. I think there was an issue because Jeremy Piven, who played Ari Gold, had become such a staple and such an important part of the success of that show.
Mm-hmm.
I think he ended up getting a raise while some of the others didn't, and it caused, like, hey, I'm not showing up to work until, because this is a crew thing. You need all of us.
Yeah.
Like, you can pay him what you want, but if I leave, then what?
Yeah.
So one of those type of situations.
That podcast, I'm telling you, like they do all the side jokes and stuff, but like the Piven one, they got a part 1 and 2. It was really good, dude. Really good.
Yeah, I know you sent it to me. I got to check it out.
Yeah, it's just to extend the life of it because we want more time with our guys over there. So
absolutely.
But so what we're gonna do is Spike Lou has given us his blessing to go through our emails, and the reason I wanted to go through our emails is because it's piling up in the beings at the Silvio desk. And so we need to get through some of these things. A lot of the supporters of ours have been speaking. There's been some rumblings. They've been talking about leadership and management, and so we figured that we have to.
All right.
So we got to address some things. So without further ado, and then also I don't want to make our season 6. Y'all have waited long enough between the break and the 2 back of the bean, so I don't want to make it wait too long. I want when we get into 6A or whatever, then we can get into it and spend more time in the episode. So without further ado,
hey, remember that time you started reading that email and then you stopped in the middle of it? You remember that?
Hey,
remember when?
You remember that time when I was in the middle of an email and I stopped it? Look at her. Remember when is the lowest form of conversation.
Yeah, man. I'm just curious if you remember.
That is funny. All right, man. So our first email, it comes from Eric362, which was the guy that had such an issue with the 1 millisecond of a pause on our YouTube video. He says, I got my comment read. So I guess that was the whole point, I'm assuming. So, all right, I get it. But Eric, you could approach it differently. If you just send some love or just talk about the episode. We'll acknowledge you regardless. You ain't got to try to, you know what
I mean? Yeah, shout out to Eric, man.
And shout out to Eric, man. Must be some young kid or something. It's just a kid. We got a comment on our Instagram from our finale episode of season 5, All Due Respect, from Chad Hare. He says, "Yo, I'm trying to catch up. Just finished university. I'm coming, boys. I'm just in at the end." So
That's
I'm
what's
loving
up.
it.
I like it. I liked
Yeah,
it.
yeah. So shout out to Chad Hare, man.
Shout out to Chad.
Let's see. Our next one is from YouTube, and I think this user ended up changing his name because he'll speak about it in the next email. But he know who he is, so I'll read it. And y'all, I'm gonna do some reading today, so bear with me. So this is a comment to season 5, episode 10, Cold Cuts. Not only is this podcast from a Black perspective, but in this episode, Mo reaches down in the deepest, darkest depths of his soul to show us what it is like to be truly insane.
What did you do at Cold Cuts?
I think that's the episode. That's the email episode. Because I always remember.
Was that the email episode?
That's the email episode. Goodness gracious. I believe by recreating Christopher getting clowned on for 35 minutes by his best friends, this was a meta commentary on the episode, but frankly, I'm depressed and ashamed to say I love you, Mo.
We all love you, Mo. We all love you, man. Hey, everybody need a Mo in their life.
Oh my God. That I can't believe that just has become like we're this late in this podcast and there's moments like those that are still happening. It's ridiculous, bro. Goodness gracious. Well, thank you. I love you too. I am truly insane. We got another comment from Cold Cuts. Sunny Val Inc. I lost it during the beginning of the episode. Your podcast is the best recap and perspective on my favorite show. I'm on my 5th rewatch, and your commentary has made it the best rewatch by far. Can't wait to hear your take on Test Dream. That episode is nuts. By the way, I think Ro is a better friend to Carm. She is the only person Carm can be open and vulnerable with. You know that Gab is going straight back to Seal with everything. Carm says, LOL. Love your show. Excited.
Yeah. Ro ain't got nobody to go back to.
Damn. Oh, Rosalie, I'm so sorry. We love you. Oh,
Jackie
Rose.
Sr. out of here. Ralph Severetto out of here.
Yeah, Jackie Jr. out of here. The daughter ain't around.
Should have kept the daughter, man.
Man, come on. Seriously.
I'll die on that hill.
Yeah. Love your show. Excited. You will be there for my 6th rewatch. It's dope. And it's a young lady, I believe, based on the profile picture. So it's dope.
That's a great compliment. When someone says this is their 5th rewatch and this is their best one because of our perspective, that's incredible. That's much appreciated.
Absolutely. Thank you. And I shout out to our women listeners, man. Come on now.
Absolutely.
I love that because I know how we could get. We definitely get in our mansplaining bag at moments. It can be hard to bear. But I think if there's women that like The Sopranos, I don't think that what we do would bother them. Because if you like this show and how awful it gets around university and, employee of the month and you still watch it, then you can handle us. We got another email actually from Madeline. Subject line, best pod about The Sopranos. Guys, you are making my latest rewatch of that thing of ours the best one yet. So glad I found your pod. You 3 are hilarious and have the best perspective. You cracking up during the Valentina scene in Test Dream made me laugh for days.
I still feel bad about that.
I know. I'm sorry. Thanks for all you do, Madeline.
Shout out to Madeline, man. We appreciate that.
Yeah, I know because I'm sorry, y'all. You need that. Like, let's just keep it a bean real quick. Like, I get it. We in a PC culture, but like, this podcast ain't really that PC. But it's we try to do it, with all due respect. And bruh, that is just generally funny. And that's Soprano. Like, don't blame me. Like, they did that. They made it funny. Like, they weren't trying to make us feel bad.
Yeah, man. There's some moments like that where it's just like, what? Like, how did this happen? Like I said, it just went from 0 to 100 real quick.
Real quick.
And those moments, like those subtle, not supposed to be funny moments, are always funny. Just like when we talked about, was that Valentina? Yeah, when Tony told her he already took his horse.
Yes, exactly, bro. That's the first thing I was thinking of next. I already took his horse. Like, bro.
To say that with a dead serious face, man,
Yeah.
that's hilarious.
Yeah, that's what
Gotta be
that was.
stronger. Gotta be
Gotta be
stronger
stronger than that. Yeah, I love it. A classic Rich Line shirts coming soon. um, here's where we kind of get one of the supporters of ours. He's gonna hit us with a few different comments, so y'all rock with us. He's trying to get on that Chris Falone level for sure. You know, shout out to Chris Falone, man.
Shout out to Chris Falone, the legend.
Yeah, the legend. So his name is Robert the Hernandez. So his first one comes from All Due Respect. You guys read my comment 2 weeks in a row. I was user something until I changed my screen name. Anyways, you guys have been a daily listen for me since I discovered you a few weeks back. Can't thank you enough for the fly black perspective on my favorite TV show. Also, I'm 54, so that's why I remember seeing Angie Dickinson in that shower scene in Dressed to Kill, and why I've seen The Godfather 27 times. You guys are my favorite Soprano podcast. I love your show more than even talking Sopranos.
Shout out to the OG.
Come on, OG, man. Come on, Robert the Hernandez. The guy.
Yeah, him check out this podcast, these moolies. They talk about Sopranos.
The moolies. They talk about Italian culture. They're funny as shit. No. Shout out to Robert Hernandez. He got a few more things that he sent to us, man. Him and Spike are around the same age, so Spike should know the rest. Spike is gonna kill me in the text message. He like, nigga. Oh man, I love it. Another one from Robert the Hernandez. He also says in the same episode, All Due Respect, love Spike's synopsis on the episode. So shout out to Spike. As always, funny when he says Seal tells Tony about discontent in the crew. Reminded me of The Wait when Chris says create a little dysentery among the ranks. When he meant to say dissension among the ranks. LOL. The malapropism in the show are hilarious. Here's a video with a collection of them. Yeah, the malapropisms are definitely the big thing. I think they even started in season 1. I think. What do you think? I'm Hannibal Lecter. You know, that was like I think the pilot episode. You know, that's a super essential part, man. Robert the Hernandez watching really closely. Love that.
Absolutely.
The next one from Rob. We can call you Rob. This is from season 4, episode 9. Whoever did this. He says Breaking Bad definitely took a lot of lessons from The Sopranos. Besides the obvious parallels between Tony and Walter White being murderous anti-heroes and the drug-addled sidekicks Chrissy and Jesse, Breaking Bad's Juan Bosa is a direct Spanish translation of Johnny Sack. Whoa. What?
Oh, say that one more time.
Breaking Bad's Juan Bosa is a direct Spanish translation of Johnny Sack. You remember who Juan is?
I'm looking it up now. I think I know exactly who it is. I just want to make sure I'm correct for reference purposes.
Juan Bosa. Dang, Rob, you deep out in these streets, bro. Huh?
That's my type of guy.
I know. That's what I'm about to say, because I lean on Rich completely when it comes to stuff like that.
Yeah, the Salamanca. He was at the pool.
Oh, the one in the wheelchair?
Oh,
okay.
Nah, he wasn't in the wheelchair.
Okay. I think it's the other one.
Yeah, he was in 5. I think he was 5 episodes.
Is that the one that was also in Better Call Saul?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
I don't believe so, but I know exactly what he's talking about if you look it up. I need to do a Breaking Bad rewatch.
Yeah, you might as well wait for your best of.
Yeah, man, we gonna do it. We need to. I was just telling the best episode ever crew. That we need to me and Spike need to get with you so we can map out our episodic things and figure out what we're gonna do. But that's a whole nother conversation for
Okay.
another day. I don't even want to talk about it because talking about that means that we're out of the Sopranos world, and it's just going. We've been doing this for so long,
I
literally
know.
over a year,
Yeah.
and it's going to be weird not to be in the world with these guys. Like I've already told you with this show, you can watch it at different times and have different perspectives.
Mhm.
I'm down for a 2.0 at some point.
I definitely thought at some point, this is just, I don't know how it would fit, but I definitely thought about doing the re-watch version of the episodes me and Spike did when you weren't here.
Mm,
I thought about that. I definitely, that was something like, man, just to make it kind of full circle type of thing.
mm-hmm.
Who knows? But there's a podcast that does that. Shout out to Potta Bing. They're doing like a kind of a rewatch on it and everything. So there's some capacities I would like to do it, but I'll have to figure out a different angle at it, you know, because I think, to be honest, our show is such a high level. No arrogance here, but like our show is such a high level as far as what we provide entertainment wise, that I think we nail it in the first. We nail it in the first take. I think if we did it again, it would be a whole different version. Like kind of like, oh, we're trying to actually pull out the deeper themes of it, and I don't know.
Yeah.
I've never seen if you find some successful podcast that has done something like that, I would be open to check it out because to see where they take it. But
Got you.
Rob hits us on season 4, episode 11, calling all cars. He says, "Ha ha, Spike saying, I remember when you used to sit in the car. LOL." One of Spike's favorite quotes.
Mm-hmm.
Our man Coyote the Okapi. He hits us up on All Due Respect. He says, I would like to formally request for Spike to sing the hook from Nine Little Millimeter Boys by 8 Ball and MJG. When you get to the final scene of season 6, episode 1, if you know, you know. Side note to Spike, every Odd Friday that you have been on is top 5 battle, and you put me on the coming out hard fire.
Nah, that's yeah, because I remember. All right, so that email is a reference to the Odd Friday Spike Lou does or they've done. I've been waiting for them to bring it back. I told
Dead
Spike
end
I'm
hip
pulling up
hop.
to Atlanta. Yeah, I'm pulling up to Atlanta next time they do one. But he had a battle where it was Spike was handling 8 Ball and MJG, and whoever he was going against was 3 6 Mafia.
Mm-hmm.
So 9 Little Millimeter Boys was one of those songs that he put on. It was one of those. Remember, Mo? We was talking. I was like, "Hey, Spike was smacked.
Oh
Spike was in there.
man, dog.
Spike was in there smacked, bro. He was having a
Dog.
good old time."
Yeah, he was, boy.
But yeah, shout out to that, man, because I missed those. I told Spike, man, literally, when y'all start those back up, let me know. I'm gonna pull up to one in
Hey man,
person.
they need like a tag team, bro.
Hey man, they need
A
something. I
tag
want to do
team.
one.
You and that's what I'm saying. You and Spike, if y'all got like minded taste in
I
music,
was
so maybe I could tag team one time. You know what I mean?
I was texting him doing that, and I said, "Yo, you got to play this. You got to play this."
I always, that's coming. That's just
Yeah,
the producer and you. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, man, that's fun times.
Nah, that's dope, man. Shout out to
Shout out to the who's a
Coyote,
listener?
Coyote the Okapi.
Coyote. Shout out to Coyote for that reference.
Yeah, he real hip hop dude, man. And I think he said he used to work with them over there at Dead End. So
Okay, then got.
I love he breaking the fourth wall, kind of opening up the universe of the Good Earner crew,
Mm-hmm.
or glorified crew, as some will call our pod. Rob hits us, season 4, episode 12. Eloise, he says, you guys should do another Soprano recap after you rewatch the series in 5 years, 10 years.
Literally just said that.
The show hits different every time because as you live more of life, the show speaks to you more and more. When you have kids, you relate to the family aspect more. When you have your own personal Whitecaps episode, those scenes rock you to your core. And then when you have to put your mom in an retirement community, that hit hard too. He's right. He's right.
That's right, man. Keep on living.
Yeah, keep on living. He's right. He's absolutely right. We're almost finished here. We got a Coyote hit us on the Instagram when we had posted that we were coming back out or coming out hard, so to speak. He says, this guy always busting balls. He says, felt like y'all were gone longer than Big P in Puerto Rico, but I'm just glad y'all are back.
Did feel like a minute, man. We did lead the people. We did lead the people for a while.
We definitely did, and I'm so glad y'all share those sentiments. It was like, yo, come on, man, we need our Mondays back. Come on, bro. Like, what y'all doing? Waited 4 days, nigga. Where y'all at?
A week from today. We back at it.
Oh yeah. So, but we glad we giving y'all something in the meantime that'll
members only. Members only, man.
I wish we all had members only jackets for the season 6, 7.
I don't. I don't.
Oh no, yeah.
Nah.
That's funny. Rob hit us season 5, episode 5, Irregular Around the Margins. He means it when he say he listened to this like every day. He said this episode was written by Robin Green and Mitchell Burgess. That the writing team that wrote Down Neck, Boca, Isabella, Do Not Resuscitate, Full Leather Jacket, Bust Out, Night in White Satin Armor, Employee of the Month, University, Whitecaps. It doesn't get any more Sopranos than Green and Burgess.
I love that. I love that. Appreciate that.
I do. Yeah, that's good info. We got hit on our. Now we're getting into our recent episode of The Back of the Bean, the lowest form of conversation. Life, a YouTube comment. Life dash NY8BI. Good discussion. Thank you. Another one on our Back of the Bean of last week. It's from Wallace Schmitten 4941. Great video. You guys definitely have the makings of a varsity content creator.
Hey, appreciate that. Thank you. That's our goal in life.
That's our goal in life. I wake up to hear that. Another one from our last one from Tap Set. They put it all together. That ain't Ralph though. Remember that reference
Absolutely.
right there?
Of course I do. What you talking about? That ain't Ralph though. I'm telling you, I'll be wearing that merch right now if it existed.
I swear I would, bro. Come on. And lastly, this was a comment to our trailer actually on YouTube. It's called the name is Thereman5552. Just stumbled upon your channel, guys. Huge Sopranos fan here. I've watched many other channels reviewing the show, and now I'm happy to start with yours. All right. Hey, listen. Yes.
Enjoy.
Listen, go get on the ride, because when you hear this, this podcast is nothing like what you've heard before. I promise you. This is literally the Jersey crew in the comparison to the New York crew. And we're like the underdogs that, we're making money over here like the Jersey crew. You know what I'm saying? So not literally, but you get what I'm saying.
Nah, I'm about to say, hold on, where my cut at, bro?
Hey, it's in a bird feeder.
Envelope's a little light. Hey, you said it's in the bird feeder.
It's in the bird feeder. You already got your cut. And that is all of our emails. That wasn't too shabby. We got through it, and a lot of love, man. A lot of love there.
Definitely appreciate that. Every time I think about the bird feeder, I think of Spike Lee, because Spike Lee's not going.
No. I can deal with a lot of things, but you stole.
Hey, Spike Lee said, I'd rather you cheat from me than steal.
Yeah, he meant it too.
Cheat on me, should I say? Yeah,
man. So we thank y'all, man. I'll just say this, and Rich will say what he's saying. We'll get into our wise guy conversation, man. Again, y'all, don't be shy. We appreciate the comments because we'll read it on air. We've gotten comments, of course, too, DMs and stuff like that. And shout out to, of course, our guy Chris Falone and AS and Monica. They'll hit us sometimes. They be like, "Hey, you don't even have to put it on the show or whatever." So I let it, hold it down or whatever. But they do reach out as well. Those are some faithful listeners. Man, we greatly appreciate y'all, man. I've listened to so many Soprano podcasts. Let me be clear. I've listened to a ton of Soprano podcasts, and I'm a fan of other podcasts. If y'all listen to our pilot episode, I've actually acknowledged those other ones that inspired me to want to start this, and I've listened to and just was into. Now, I still don't think they compare, but I was into them for the time when there wasn't a place for, this perspective. I rock with what I did, but now that we're here, it's the margin is a lot different to me, just because we're victims to a lot of the jokes on the show. And so we actually use it to empower how funny we can take it. You know what I mean? Because nobody can actually be mad about what we're saying when we're the ones getting the worst end of the joke. That's why that actually works as a superpower for us. So I'm glad that y'all getting laughter, man. I'm glad that y'all having fun with it. I'm glad that we're giving y'all a whole different feeling when you watching it this time and saying, "Hey, I got to listen to the Good Earners." You know, so man, we really love y'all, man. I just want to say I'm grateful every time y'all email us. If you are interested in email us, goodearnerpod@gmail.com, or if you want to follow us or hit us up on Instagram, goodearnerpod_Sopranos. Rich, anything you want to add to it, brother?
Everything you said was perfect. It's never,
Mm-hmm.
can't emphasize this enough. It's never taken for granted. Anybody stopping out of their day to take the time, not only just to listen to us,
Mm-hmm.
but to give us feedback, means everything. Means
Yeah.
everything. This is more important to me when I know there's people out there that appreciate it. I mean, it'd still be important if it was just me. If it was just me, Spike, and Mo listening to it, just the
Mm-hmm.
three of us, it'd still be something I love. But knowing that there's a whole world out there that's loving what we're doing, y'all are part of this thing of ours as well. Y'all are family.
Mm-hmm.
It gives us that extra battery in our back when things get a little bit redundant. But
Mm-hmm.
when we have those tough episodes, it's like, man, like when we get to listen, when we get to chasing it, go ahead and send those emails in, man. We're gonna need that to kind of
Yes.
get through. But absolutely, man, appreciate all y'all.
Yeah, absolutely, man. The love is there. Again, shout out to our brother Spike Lou. Hopefully he's listening, man. You know, we couldn't have done it without you. So it's a couple of tree things. You know, it's all three of us. So but without further ado, let's get into our doc. So Wise Guy by David Chase and the Sopranos. It premiered September 7th. By the time you're hearing this, it was the prior weekend, opening weekend of the NFL. And the synopsis is a wise guy, David Chase, in The Sopranos, acclaimed filmmaker Alex Gibney delves deep into the psyche of The Sopranos creator and writer David Chase to illuminate his life and career while offering a unique window into his unparalleled work on the iconic program. Joined by the show's writers, producers, executives, and actors, including Lorraine Bracco, Edie Falco, Michael Imperioli, the two-part documentary offers insight, inspiration, along with clips from the show, auditions, videos, and behind-the-scenes footage. HBO Documentary Films presents Wise Guy, David Chase, and The Sopranos, a jigsaw production directed by Alex Gibney, so on and so forth. All right, so first, anticipation. We talked a little bit about what we wanted from it. Even we came out when it was actually being put out, but we waited so we can actually have time with it. Well, you seen that there was a new doc coming out, and actually a lot of our listeners hit us up. Not a lot, but a few of them hit us up like, "Oh, I didn't even know there was a doc." Like, so I'm glad that we did give that nod on the last episode. What was your when you seen like the trailer and you seen the poster? What was your anticipation at that moment?
So that's the thing. I didn't look at the trailer. I didn't watch the trailer.
Okay.
I didn't want to have any kind of. I wanted it to be a surprise because documentaries are my favorites. I love a good documentary. I love a good behind the scenes. I love the making of and getting more insight on certain things, especially with a show like this. It's so iconic,
Mm-hmm.
and so many important moments and so many big moments. I love hearing more about things like that. So I really didn't know what to expect. And then I watched both parts. And do you want me to talk about how I felt about it?
We can wait.
Okay, got you. Yes, but as far as the anticipation, I didn't have any anticipation or any kind of preconceived notion because I'd never watched the trailer, and that was intentional.
Okay.
I intentionally did not watch the trailer.
Okay. I did see the trailer, you know, the Instagram post. I seen the poster first. I thought the poster was lit. I was like, oh, that's fire. I love it. It gave me definitely Lil Wayne, Young Money vibes. You know, if y'all ever seen that album cover, I guess probably inspired by something else. But I love that, like the pause if needed, but like the headmaster, the overseer is like in big focus, and then everybody else is kind of like that with the black shadow concept. I'm a graphic designer, y'all, so I'm really into that type of stuff. So that was fire. And then I seen the trailer and I was like, oh yes, we're finally gonna get some like intimate things that have been overlooked for years. And so that was really my anticipation. Like, okay, we're going to get some info that we never got before. This is David Chase's moment to kind of speak to Okay, let me speak to some things that I never got to say before. We're in that era where every things are being revealed more and more, and let me put this doc out to give y'all something. Because in my mind, David Chase is a person that doesn't really like to speak and talk much. So if he's deciding to do a documentary, he has some things to say. That was my anticipation.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what I'm trying to figure out where to go first. I don't know if I want to just say what are your likes, dislikes. Let's start with the positive.
All
What
right.
did
Well,
you enjoy about the 2-part documentary series, Wise Guy?
so I enjoyed both parts. I'm a fan.
Hmm.
Um, part two was much better. Part two was my bag. That's my speed right there. Part one was cool because it gives you, especially with us doing this show, we talk about how distinctive it is as you watch through the different seasons. Like a lot of clips were from those season one. And I'm like, oh snap! That's like I
Yeah.
remember those moments, and we're so far removed from them, and it
Hmm.
kind of make you miss it a little bit. Like I found myself missing Livia, which sounds crazy,
Yeah, no, I don't though. I hear you. Yeah.
but I started. But that's a whole different. I've said this before, so if you listen to us, I'm sorry for the repeat, but seasons one and two are like their own thing, and then you have seasons three through five, and then you have six, or you might say three and four,
Hmm.
and then five and six, well, however you want to word it. But there are completely different shows with different themes and tones,
Hmm.
especially as we get towards the end and we talk about it getting darker. And they even reference that in this documentary about the show getting darker. And
Hmm.
unfortunately, as it got darker, Jim Gandolfini got a
Hmm.
little bit darker as well, things like that. But part one, the casting calls. If anybody's seen, I don't know how many of y'all out there are Five Heartbeats fans, but Robert Townsend did a making of Five Heartbeats documentary, and it reminded me of some bits of when you see the casting calls and just all the people that were there, and obviously people who ended up being in the show, but not cast as the parts they were going for. They discussed Adriana was originally going for Irina,
Hmm.
and then didn't get that role, and then was called back when it was time for Christopher to have a girlfriend. Steven Van Zandt, obviously Artie Bucco, the actor who played Artie Bucco, read for Tony.
Hmm.
Obviously Jackie Aprile Sr. We already mentioned that, and just how they kind of found some of these people like Nancy Marchand,
Hmm.
and how it's one thing that I enjoy, and I've said this on Culture Garden before. When you create something, and David Chase mentioned this, when you create something or you write something fictional,
Hmm.
same with you, Mo, with Roll.
Yeah.
Drop Roll, by the way. Um, but when you create something in your head, you know what that person is.
Hmm.
You know who they are. You know what they look like. You know when they had it. It's no different than when you read a book, right? You
Hmm.
read a fictional book and you're reading about these characters. And in your head, you have what that looks like. So if they ever made a movie out of it, you can either say, "Oh, that's exactly what I pictured that person to be," or "Nah, I really didn't see them as that."
Hmm.
Um, and I just think that it was an incredible insight into how he works, David Chase, I mean,
Hmm.
and how he's able to see, like, all right, that's the person. Like, the mother aspect was so personal to him that he knew once I saw it, I saw it. And then it's kind of like James Gandolfini. Like, once I saw it, and I thought that was very interesting, Mo.
Hmm.
His audition, he thought it was terrible. He just got up and left. Like, could you imagine if someone there was like, you know what? We're not dealing with this. We're not going to go. It's a whole different show.
Hmm.
So for him to get up and leave and then do it again, I think he did it at the hotel room or somewhere else, and then nail the part. I mean, there's nobody else who could have been Tony Soprano.
No, not this version that we
So
got.
yeah, part one, not it was a little bit like, all right, I didn't really get too much, and then part two was really when it really got in his bag for me.
Hmm.
So I really enjoyed the doc, especially like I said, part two was that was it. That was it, man. I got more to say about it, but I want to hear your thoughts.
Okay, fair enough. Some bullet points here of what I liked about the overall two-parter. I like the introduction, David Chase and Melfi's office, and you know that whole concept, him riding in the car, giving that whole Tony flip. I love that. Those are the. I'll
That
speak
was
to this a
dope.
little later in the other side of my review and feelings towards the doc.
My fault. I didn't even talk about part two. I can say it after you finish. Like some of
Oh,
the things that I liked about part two. My
oh,
bad.
you have more specifics. Okay, well,
Oh yeah, I have more
mine's is
specifics.
probably
Yeah.
a little smaller. So, but like I like that like intro, like good. That's one of those things where don't overthink it. It's a layup. It's right there. That's one of those
Mm-hmm.
things. I'll speak a little bit more to that. Seeing David Chase laugh, that was good to me. I was glad to see him laugh. Like he just seemed like a person that doesn't laugh that much. I
On
enjoyed
this Ice Cube shit.
definitely Spike. The words of Spike Lee: "Smile, nigga." Uh, that bro, you want to talk about making me laugh so hard listening to On Deck when Spike Lee was talking about Ice Cube and the big three around the pandemic, and it's like, man, you got the mean mug, you ain't got your beard shaved or nothing, and you going around talking about this and this, nigga, smile, nigga, like, bro, like I was crying laughing, dude.
True Spike Lee fashion
That's
or Spike Lee.
yeah, true Spike Lee fashion. But yeah, I like the another thing I thought was interesting in at the end being America and capitalism. That fact that we us Soprano fans we look at it differently, and I think it is. I think it's a double-edged sword. It ties into because the thing about this whole doc is how the real life versus the mobster family life kind of meet each other, but yet can have two totally different meanings. Uh, I think the writers, I enjoyed the writers and the mother experience. The original ending, I found interesting of Tony suffocating her, but Nancy Marchand wanted to keep working. Um, we found out how she was. His father, on both sides, I think his grandfather maybe, on both sides being terrible. One of them kicking his grandma in the vagina. That
Yeah.
was insightful. And lastly, for me, David Chase saying it's 7 seasons, but HBO made it season 6A, B because of raises.
Yeah, that's kind of, the business side of things. And that kind of goes into part of more of the things that I like, which is um podcasting is creating in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when you have new ideas and new shows and trying to develop them and trying to, despite myself and Mo, we do more than just this when it comes to this space.
Mm-hmm.
So we know what it's like to kind of want to figure out what it's gonna look like and how we're gonna pull this off. There's a moment in part two when David Chase talked about the different charts that he used for each character.
Mm-hmm.
Because he knew it was always gonna be 13 episodes. They use these charts and kind of say, all right, 1, 2, 3, 1 through 13, and write each character, Tony, Carmela, Chris. What's happening to these characters in each episode? And that's how they built, the story and also the writing room and them using their own experiences in real life. Because I'm sure a lot of shows do that. A lot of shows, that's there's moments in television and film where like that happened. It's so specific. This happened to somebody that wrote it was in the writing room.
Mm-hmm.
Like this happened. Like there's an iteration of this that's real life, and that's the only way somebody can even think of a scene like this. I really enjoyed because this is a conversation that happens all a lot. The discussion between is this a drama or a comedy,
Mm-hmm.
and just that comedic aspect that goes into the show because that's something we love so much, and a lot of it is very dry and maybe not supposed to be funny, but we find it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And just how they pulled from, I mentioned their different stories. They pulled from different experiences, like the Paulie and the therapist moment. Like that came from one of the writers and their moment in therapy. Or I think one of the writers was talking about his time in like the boys club,
Mm-hmm.
with some wise guys or mobsters, and that's how you get these characters such as Bobby Bacala, Richie Aprile, the whole nine.
Mm-hmm.
So all of that was very interesting to me. The way they attacked the show and the integrity of it.
Mm-hmm.
They talked about using violence as there wasn't any wasted violence, especially like
Yeah.
on women.
Mm-hmm.
So you have University, obviously, which we've talked about and discussed. But you look at that juxtaposed with Meadow, and
Mm-hmm.
just two different worlds, two different outcomes, right?
Mm-hmm.
I've
Yeah.
said this line before from Nas on Triple Beam Dreams. Nas has a line where he says, I could have been could have been Ivy League if America played fair.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what's making me think, like, you got brilliant people, but sometimes they're just stuck in their circumstance. So you see that with Tracy and Meadow. You see, obviously, Employee of the Month, which is still, when they were showing it in the doc, I'm like, man, this is rough to
Oh man,
watch.
they let it rock too
And,
much a little bit. Like, God, do I got to relive
like,
this
yeah, we've
moment?
seen this before. Yeah, we've seen this before. But Lorraine Bracco, I love collaboration, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the things that I love about documentaries and hearing about, because yes, this is for David Chase's case, this is my show, this is my vision, but there's still some open collaboration
Mm-hmm.
for change, and there's still collaboration for, um, hey, I read the script, I don't like this. So Lorraine Bracco talked about, why is this happening to Melfi? Like, she's one of the most purest people in this show. Why is this happening? And the fact that David Chase was like, hey, just read it, just finish it to the end, and then giving her that moral ground of saying no, because as Lorraine said, she didn't go to school for 15 years just to turn into a gangster.
Mm-hmm.
You have to keep that integrity there, even though we all wanted her to tell Tony so
Mm-hmm.
he can go ahead and get everything handled. Um, I thought that was just an incredible, the collaboration, the work that they put in for it. I'm trying to think of what else that I had specifically. It might be it off the top of my head.
Anything as
Obviously,
far as
James Gandolfini.
okay, that's what I was about to say. James Gandolfini or Chase, them being similar, and then also some of Chase's behavior.
Yeah, some of Chase's behavior in regard to, well, I think that kind of ties into my point that I want to make about not knowing that you have a smash hit, or even beyond that. Let's scrap that. Your life changing overnight.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think any of them expected that. They talk about those early days of HBO, and you remember Sopranos. This is pre-Wire. This is
Yeah.
pre
Mm-hmm.
all of these classic shows that HBO has churned out, but they didn't know if this was going to work. And they Michael Imperioli even talked about it. Like,
Mm-hmm.
if I don't get this job, well, this dude ain't even Italian. It's
Yeah. Right.
HBO. It's not even
Right.
a big deal. Uh, but David Chase, I say that to say, as time goes on, the success hits. It gets a little bit harder to show. Now it turns into a job,
Mm-hmm.
right? And now you got to deal with personalities and egos. And James Gandolfini just seemed like a troubled man when it came to that. He naturally didn't want to be the lead of a series, as they mentioned, or even a star. And I can understand that. The last thing I would ever want to be is famous.
Mm-hmm.
Like, me personally, I'm not built for the famous life.
No.
I'm not that kind of,
Mm-mm.
like, step outside and people just run up on you, cameras in your face, trying to take selfie. Like, I just love to everyone, but I just don't live my life like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know, well, I knew, but I'm glad that they kind of touched on some of those substance abuse issues. You've heard stories about James Gandolfini not showing up to set before, so I'm glad that they actually addressed it.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know about the failed intervention.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't aware of that. I wonder. It makes me think of the intervention scene with Chris a little bit different. I
Mm-hmm.
know it. I know that it sounds like his intervention or
His
attempted
was like
intervention happened
after.
after that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, but it still makes me think a little bit different. And
Mm-hmm.
then David Chase aspect, when you look at the scenes, like, you have no idea what it's like to be number one. Like, all of that just seems like a direct reflection of who David Chase was,
Mm-hmm.
um, and just his personality and how he. I'm glad that he was able to reflect and realize there was a moment when he talked about nobody's giving me ideas anymore, and then if I look back, I can say because I never listened to them anyway,
Mm-hmm.
so people just stopped giving them. And just the way he thought about things, your first 5 ideas, let's scrap that
Mm-hmm.
and let's go ahead and move forward. And then the last thing I'll say really is the the crossroad moments that you have as a show, because these things are so delicate, Mo. And in one moment, you can build something up, and in one moment, you can lose it. You can lose all the credibility. And they talked about College,
Mm-hmm.
season 1, episode 5, and that moment of Tony he hasn't earned the right
Mm-hmm.
to take this guy out. And then somebody on the other side saying, no, if Tony doesn't, then this show doesn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's not believable. Like, you can't that's not what they do. He would, in real life, this is a real thing. even if he's on college tours with his daughter, he's still going to see this guy. He's going to take care of business somehow, some way. So I can really appreciate the fact that they did that. And obviously the ending of it as well. The ending of this documentary, I thought was pretty, some people might call it lazy. I enjoyed it. It was a nice little nod to, the original ending of the show. And I remember all the uproar. I wasn't watching Sopranos in real time. My pops was, but I wasn't watching it in real time when it was on the air. But I remember, everybody remembers, whether you were watching or not, what it was like when that finale happened and the screen turned black and so many people, what happened? Did my cable go out? And how mad everybody was now. But today I can't think of a more perfect ending. I really can't. I don't know if I'm in the minority of that. I don't know if people still have a gripe with it, but just it's whatever you want it to be. I think we all know Tony's fate, but the fact that it's open ended, and for years I thought the opposite of Tony's fate because it made me feel better, and it took me a good 10 years to accept the fact of what's going on, and I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it don't matter. It's not good. Like you know what I mean? Like that's why I like that.
It's all a big nothing.
Yeah, big nothing. Boom, there it is.
And real quick, that's something else that David Chase said that I really liked. No matter what, the universe keeps going.
Yep.
And the reason why he picked "Don't Stop Believing," and just like on and on. I can't sing, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like just that whole concept of it.
Yeah, that was pretty good. I think he had a few other records, I think at one point that he spoke to, and that ended up being the one. But they all were like mainstream pop records, and he's a music guy. David Chase has spoke about at length in many occasions how much he was just into music and stuff like that. So yeah, I think, man, you could really sell it. This guy can sell it. All right. The other side of the coin.
Oh man, here we go.
The other side. Here's my issue. Well, let me say this. Obviously, David Chase and all of the creators that are involved, from writers, producers, actors, stylists, wardrobe, everybody involved. This is obviously legendary and, in my opinion, the greatest show ever made in television on the small screen. But here's my issue with David Chase. My issue with David Chase is this. They do the introduction and we kind of go through this brief thing, and they're doing like this kind of montage of him over talking himself, kind of give us this brief history of what it is that he's like, man, I feel like I've been talking too much, which is fine, whatever, got it. We get the whole layout of it all. But we've heard this. We get into the audition tapes of who almost was going to be Tony, who almost was going to be Chris, Adriana. Those are great tapes. But we heard this. We continue on. We talk about his issue with American capitalism and, the end at the end, the great flip on it and all. But we've heard this. We talk about the mother issues and how much, the casting and found the perfect one. And even people with his family call and say, man, that is your mom. That is crazy. That's dope and all that. But we've heard this. We've heard that Tony, this was originally going to be a movie and Tony was going to suffocate Nancy Marchand or Olivia. We've heard this. We've heard that it was season 6A-B was originally going to be season 7. We've heard this. You know how we've heard this? Because there is a podcast called Talking Sopranos. You know how we heard this? Because there is a book called Talking Sopranos. You know how we've heard this? Because you have done many interviews over the years and podcasts. My problem with this is David Chase. Like, to me, I'm sorry, and I could be inaccurate, incorrect. Don't get us shut down or pulled off the YouTube. But to me, it just seems lazy. Like, it just feels so lazy to me. Like, I'm still hot about how you did Many Saints of Newark. You did not watch the series back and say, oh, you know what would be cool? Somebody pitched the idea. We do this prequel when we bring in the old wise guys when it wasn't in at the end. And then you say, oh, I've always wanted to see what it was like to have, civil rights or have black people tied into this world because of the how synonymous black people and Italian people are in this country, and even more specifically New York, and all of this. And to me, you not rewatching it, knowing all of these stories you gave with Junior talking about Johnny back in the day, it's lazy. Like, this is lazy. You do this doc for what? What fans is this for? This ain't for us because we already know this. We got TV guides, we got magazines, we have all this. This documentary is lazy. I feel like David Chase, he's better than this. You're a better creator than this. You're a better brain than this. But now you start to make me feel like you struck gold and you really don't know what, you really don't have anything else. That's how you make me feel. Because this right here, we do 2 parts in all of this, but you're giving us this surface level stuff that we already know. This feels like it came out during the pandemic. Like y'all were working on this and you said, oh, this would be a great time, all of this. And then y'all put it on ice and then decided, yo, let's put it out now. That's how this documentary feels like to me. Like this does not feel fresh. It doesn't feel new. You didn't give us no new information. You dangled the bait in front of us. We took it and it's the same thing. Like to me, David Chase, bro, you're being lazy. Like if you and then just like I'm gonna use this reference, Drake, when Drake did and he's my guy, but I got flack for him. When Drake did the Rap Radar interview in 2020 at his house, everything felt constructed. Like we had a conversation pre-production, only asked me these things. And it was cool. We got some little tidbits, but it really wasn't the Drake interview we wanted. This is the same thing. It feels like, oh, let's just bring this guy in. He's going to ask the same typical jargon. No, get some real fans, get some real notable people that got different questions. That lining of questions that you think this, man, we've already heard that, bro. Like, come on, I get the interview integrity, but we've already heard that. Like this, like give us something new. If you're going to touch your legendary brand, Sopranos, then give us something else. Like I don't want no more repeat stuff because I'm tired. I'm tired of. To me, here's the problem. Yeah, we're fans and we buy into it, but y'all not being innovative like y'all were. So y'all, which I get, it's hard. It's a legendary show. It's hard to top it. I get it, but you don't necessarily have to top it more than you could continue to be innovative in a different way. Y'all gave us many saints. No, sir. We got talking Sopranos. There's moments, but overall, no, sir. Where is the innovation? Y'all leave it to us podcasters to have to create innovative angles and spots because y'all won't do it. Come on, bro. Like what? Like, come on, bro. I'm just tired of this riding this wave, and it's the same thing. And there's this lazy thing, y'all. I don't remember the ending. Oh, well, actually, Tony died. Oh, no, actually, Tony didn't. Oh, actually, it's like, what do we, if you don't remember the stuff, don't even put yourself in that place, David. Like, come on, man. Like, that got me so hot, bro.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like everyone to meet one of my favorite versions. I call him Turned Up Mo. I love when Mo gets turned up like this. Let me ask you, well, 2 things. First, it's funny you said all of that because for clarity, Mo and myself did not necessarily speak about what our thoughts were, not in detail. I know he said that I might be saying turned up Mo, but I didn't know in what capacity. And it's funny because I was looking, you know me, I'm trying to look up things, and I found a review. It's a user review, so it's not like a newspaper or any kind of outlet. And I'm starting to think that maybe you wrote it. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but there are some parts that I want to mention. So they gave it a 4 out of 10. They gave Wise Guys a 4 out of 10. And the title was "Not the Ending You Wanted to See." Lazy? Question mark.
Oh wow.
Starts with spoiler, nothing to see here. It was exposed in trailers the essence of this documentary interview. If you watch Sopranos, then you do not need to see this. This is 99% showing footage and 10%, his math is off. I think he meant 90% showing footage and 10% talking about it. Mm-hmm. The series was a reality series, fly on the wall of gangster life, no holds barred. They showed us everything, well, almost. It was ugly and car crash TV. It showed a bit about disagreement over pay, and that's public knowledge. The Many Saints of Newark Sopranos prequel was made into a film and not talked about. Why? Was it because it flopped? Why make this now? It was so close. It was cut so close to the bone that the cast were affected by how close this was to the dark side of the mob as well as viewers. Just kind of going into your sentiment of like, why are we doing this? And I thought it was pretty interesting of why are we doing this now? Why do you think this documentary came out now? But if I push back on your theory a little bit, wouldn't that be the same as there are multiple Sopranos podcasts? that talk about the show.
No.
Like just having like so you can listen. All right, my thing is this.
Okay.
You can listen to multiple Sopranos podcasts, but you can't listen to David Chase talk about things from his own account, even though you've heard it before.
It's not the same. Because people have never heard us. They never heard us react and speak to it. You've watched the
So
show.
okay, you're looking at it as we're doing Good Earners right now. If we came back 5 years from now and did the exact same episodes,
Pretty
like
much.
literally nothing changed.
Yes.
We have our same thoughts. We tell the same jokes.
Yes.
People are going to be like, "Yo, why am I listening to this again?" Is that how you're viewing
They're
this?
still doing the Johnny Sack in the bathroom joke again. Like, you know what I
That's
mean?
fair. Yeah, that's fair.
So for the
That's
new
fair.
podcast, it's not the same. Just on the sidebar, it's not the same with the podcasters because you don't know what the reaction will be. It's unpredictable. David Chase has lost all unpredictableness in this point, which I get it because you got to keep it truthful and facts. So they may not necessarily be unpredictable, but then why put this out? That's my thing.
So my next question is going to be,
okay,
what would you have done differently? What did you want to see?
What I would have liked to see is, I would like to go into the writers' room. I would like some of the writers to have shown us, like, okay, these are the scripts that never made it. Let's go into the missing scripts. You know what I'm saying? Let's say this, and this. And, this is a part I wanted to say. Sidebar. This speaks to David Chase. I think it's Terry Winter. If I'm incorrect, correct me, Soprano fans. Terry Winter came out on Talking Sopranos some years ago, and he was talking about they had this whole storyline about the Russian coming back one day and Chris seeing him in like a cafe or something. You know the story. They gonna see him. Nothing was gonna happen, but it was just to see that he still lived and everything. And David Chase was like, he was on board until he made the Terry Winter made the comment and say, oh yeah, the viewers, they're gonna love that. And he, as soon as he heard that, he said scrap it. And that to me is the biggest problem now. That worked then and don't work now. Like there's moments you're missing layups because you're still trying to be like, oh, I gotta be contrarian. And so to me, this doc wasn't nowhere near. It didn't line up to the mindset of David Chase. It's like you're stuck on you're stuck in that cycle now. And so what could they have done different? They could have gave us some scripts that never made the light of day. Let's talk about these things. They could have walked us. They could have took us to some areas and scenes and say, yo, right here, I remember when the late, great James Gandolfini, this moment right here, if you don't have footage, walk us out there where the snow was when he did the scene a few times. He ran, but it failed, so we had to shoot it 3-4 times. Walk us over here to the house. Actually, we had the architecture this way, but we thought this would be a better fit. Take us to the spots. Take us to the spaces. Take us to the crazy horse. Show us like, oh, this right here, you remember this scene, and flash it into the show, and then go this way. This actually was going this way, blah, blah, blah. Give us the insider. Like, I listened to a 90210 podcast. They give us so much insider stuff that we never knew. Like, people have to be a fan of, but but it's the writer and producers really that give us more insight that makes it so much better. Then they bring one-off characters on. Like, bring us the one-off actors that came on, talk about their experience. Like, this could have been more than 2-part documentary. This could have been a series documentary, an 8-part, and we're gonna give you 2 episodes at a time, and let's bring on the one-off actors and let's have them. But it's like we get the same. We love Edie Falco. We love Michael Imperioli. We love, but where's the Michael Rispolis of the world, huh? Where's that? Where he at, huh? Where's the what's his name? Big P. What, I forgot what the actor's name is. Where he at?
Yeah, Vincent Pastore was it?
Vincent Pastore. Where's he at? Where's Johnny V? Where are all of the other people? They probably.
Where's Joey Pants?
Where's Joey Pants? Because a lot of them probably don't want nothing to do with it because of sometimes that work environment. Sometimes. You know what I mean? So it's like, to me, it's like you did this doc and we got the Fab Five, but where's the rest of the people? Like you dropped the ball tremendously. Like there's so much, and that's why my problem is with David Chase. Your contrarian thing, and if the fans are like it, I'm not doing it. But he needs some fresh blood, and he needs some people in there that of all walks of life. That this show has affected in a positive way, because you need people to come in now with the ideas. Because to me, this would have been a good springboard to say, okay, we're about to open up the Soprano universe and we're coming out with this. Like, Because to me, I don't want nothing else. Respectfully, I don't want anything else from David Chase in the world of Sopranos unless there's going to be a prequel show where we're doing a whole different style of Tony's making his bones. We're doing a young Tony series or something, or we're doing a young. I don't want nothing else because to me, you showed me in this documentary you don't care enough, bro. You just wanted to say it again to get it on record. You don't care enough, and that's why I'm like, you playing in my face with this documentary. Like that, you wasted my time. Like honestly, you made the greatest show of all time, and then you did a documentary, and we could have just went back and watched Talking Sopranos and listened to what you said. Come on, man, what is this?
Do you think? And I'm with you 100%. That was one of the gripes that I had. We needed more people. I would have loved to see more actors, and even more. I would have loved to hear from the actor who played Tracy.
Yes.
And kind of talk about, because these are big moments. So I would have loved to hear from the actor who played that Employee of the Month.
Yeah.
And just how did that affect you? Like reading that script, knowing you're cast for this, because
that stuff.
It's funny. Yeah, because there's certain things, and I was thinking about this because we were doing best episode ever of Entourage, right? And I was thinking about that Vegas Baby Vegas episode and the character of Ken. And I'm just thinking from an actor perspective. If I was an actor and I'm getting a chance to be on a hit show, but this is my role, would I have done it? Like, would this be interpreted the right way? All of that. And I think, though, and you have to think about the idea of, if I'm on the street now, I'm now the guy who, was going to sleep with Johnny Drama because of the affection that he poured on. I'm not myself anymore. And you kind of got to live with that. A lot of people talk about how they don't like, Alfonso Ribeiro still gets called Carl.
Yep.
Jaleel White still gets called Urkel. And you can look at it from the sense of, I'm glad that I played in the kind of role that people are going to remember forever. Or, like, hey, man, I'm past that part of my life. I'm not Bow Wow. I'm Shad Moss.
Fair.
Like, nah, nigga, you Bow Wow. And there's nothing you can do to change somebody's mind about that. You can tell them that I don't want to be referred to as that, but nigga, if your mama called you Clay, I'm gonna call you Clay.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where I would have loved to see. Because think about that. Think about being that actor who played the Employee of the Month guy, and you're in public. You're the guy who raped Dr. Melfi.
Yeah.
I want to hear about that. I want to hear about your mindset. I want to hear about what you thought when you read the script. I want to know what it was like on set.
That's what I'm saying.
Stuff like that, or Tracy, the whole thing, and or even, because Robert Eiler and Jamie Lynn Sigler, they have their own podcast. Like, I wonder where they were, and I'm very curious as to that review I read. Kind of like what you're saying, like the timing of this is a little bit interesting. It might sound, and David Chase doesn't seem like a self-serving person. This felt self-serving, and I almost felt like I have to put my legacy out there, and I think that happens when you get older. You want to make sure that you don't leave any stone unturned.
I get that.
But yeah, it's very interesting. Now, let me ask you this. Do you think that maybe, just maybe, you're too invested in the show? And that's why, this almost felt like it was for Sopranos 101 fans, not the people who have watched it 5-6 times.
It's the greatest show of all time. Sorry. You got that coming, bro. You know that. You already know that. Like you know that. Because I mean, I'll harken back on the Martin reunion. It ain't a doc, but it was cool, but it was like it was mid again. So it was like, okay, we'll take it. But the thing about David Chase is, like, I feel like we've gotten iterations of this in some capacity already. Like, I mean, I don't have the DVD set, but I'd imagine like some of this footage is probably like, oh, we could have looked at this and this. You can find some stuff on YouTube now. It's just, I think maybe get your legacy out there. And maybe maybe we all as Soprano fans could be too invested. We leave no room for them. But again, you had such intentionality when creating the show. How did you not have that with the doc? That don't make no sense. Like, to me, it's like you're this brilliant writer that, I mean, of course, and I did like the origin of, he didn't even see himself as a writer and he just wanted to make a film. I get it. Like, I get it. And he's still a legend. He's still a GOAT. So this doesn't take anything away from him. But my problem is with him, and with all due respect, Talking Sopranos, it's like, y'all think y'all know, y'all, because of y'all insight of being there and creating this content that y'all have served the world with, y'all think that y'all know the best way to actually reproduce it and put it back out to us because y'all were involved with it, but y'all don't really understand how we work. And that's my problem. Like y'all don't really understand how we work.
But is that his responsibility? It's his show.
It ain't his responsibility. And that I could be ignorant right here. That's fine. That's fair. But I felt like, and talking Sopranos, just they got to get astray a little bit too, just because they should have never, they shouldn't have. In all due respect to Steve Sharippa, but he should have did the pod. Michael Imperioli should have did it with Johnny V. Like they probably picked him because he would be more entertaining, and he definitely gave moments on there. We should have picked Johnny V. And now we forever have this Talking Soprano podcast, the people that are talking about the show, and that happens a lot. And I would like some like Terry Winter and Mitchell
You
Burgess.
talking about Artie's?
Yeah,
The actor who played Artie?
yeah, like he was up.
Why do you say that?
Because I feel like to me, personality wise, he feels like he would have been more grounded and they could have gotten further. There was a lot of stopping and going back and making into these internal jokes about, oh, he doesn't like me, or he doesn't care to be here. He doesn't even want to, and it just, and people already know about Talking Sopranos. It got mad annoying after a while, and people are not necessarily looking for deeper stuff, but like just internal information, which there was gems. Like let me not take that stance out of, there were gems in the show, but it's just like there was a lot of it was a lot of trying to be entertaining and it wasn't, you know what I mean? So it just one of those things. Like that's one thing I know about the 90210 podcast, like with it having the writers, it hit different because they remember things a lot more. They wrote it on the page and watched the great actors bring it to life. It hit different. So I feel like they should do another Sopranos podcast, somebody else, and they do it from the writers. Get a Terry Winter, Mitchell Burgess, whoever the other listener mentioned, some of those legendary writers that were part of the show, and let's get that insight on the whole thing. Remembering all of that and bring in like one off this, one off that. But I don't know. I think I guess just to me, it just feels like this is the last of Soprano lore we're getting. Unless they really take the time and really say, hey, we're going to expand the world. But it's like, if this is it.
But I guess I guess everything you're saying I understand completely and I respect it. And I don't even have any issue with your thoughts on it.
Okay.
Which I shouldn't, because they're your opinion.
Yeah, well, what are you saying then?
The only thing I'm gonna say is I don't need, like, the show is so good that I don't really need, all of that is a bonus, right? All of that is a bonus to me. Like it's
all of it is Jordan on the Wizards.
It's this is gonna sound crazy, but it reminds me of an Ari Gold line. When he said something to Ari about, is that good? He said, no, eat good is when the wife agrees to eat box for your birthday. This is great. It's kind of like one of those things. Like I already got the good. I already got the what I need in the show itself.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about how many times we can rewatch this, and this is a life thing. Mm-hmm. I'm never gonna wake up one day and say I'm never watching Sopranos again. I mean, I'm always going to keep it in rotation until that time, until my screen fades to black. Mm-hmm. But I think the show is so great that I don't need the extras. Is it more of a thing where you want to? Because we talked about this. Mm-hmm. We've talked about how difficult it is to disconnect from some of these worlds. I even mentioned it at the beginning of this, like how we've been doing this for so long, it's going to be difficult once we get to the end. Mm-hmm. Do you think or I guess in your favor, like stop teasing us with stuff. Like let it be the show. Don't even come out with stuff. Let it be the show. Because if you're going to give us something, you know how much the show means. Mm-hmm. Make sure it's phenomenal. You make sure it's at the same level of the 6/7 seasons that you gave us. Is that kind of where you're looking at it?
Pretty much.
Because I look at it from that same perspective, but I also look, all right, I still have this. Even if y'all mess this up, like Many Saints of Newark, right? I still have Sopranos.
Well, here's the thing. How many family barbecues, and we're about to get out of here, but how many family barbecues can you have that are just that don't feel the same but you keep referencing, hey, you remember about 6 years ago when we did this? Hey, you remember that one time, the remember one thing where you keep kind of reminiscing back when it used to be these high level barbecues and family was around and we used to have this much fun. And then you're in these real time ones. Do you sit and keep saying, even though I'm here, I'm glad to be here. It's only a few of us that don't feel the same, but I'm just happy that, oh, we had those great barbecues back then. So this will suffice. Or do you start saying, hey, bro, if we're going to do this, let's get back to that level if we're going to keep doing this.
Mm. It's interesting when you say it like that. It's not, like I said, it felt kind of self-serving. Like there's something that just needs to be out there from my legacy. But you are right. I didn't learn too much new from his perspective. Some of the stuff I thought was, I appreciate that the documentary format for some of those things that I mentioned earlier when I talked about the things that I like. But yeah, I look at it as The Sopranos is still there.
Mm-hmm.
It's still showing up, and I'm going to continue to watch it. No matter what happens after that, it's not going to. The main thing is still the main thing.
Of course.
So I guess I just didn't get too. Maybe that's part of me not watching the trailer, not really having any expectations.
Yeah, it for me though, it still was just like, even if I didn't watch the trailer, just seeing the poster or whatever, I still would just be like, hey, like, okay, we're getting
It's
some more,
cool.
So it is what it is. It's just, this is one of those things where it is what it is. Like, you're Jordan, you're gonna get
You
that.
know what?
You have a bad game, you're gonna get the flack because you're the greatest. Like, you
You
got
know,
that come with it, bro. Like, and that's just, it's a gift and a curse for them. You get to walk
I'm
around and you didn't intend to be the greatest show ever, but you are, in my opinion. And so with that being said, like, I don't know how you would feel. Maybe you feel the same if it was The Wire. Maybe if you already knew the same stuff and you're like, okay, I got about like a little small percentage, whatever, The Wire is still The Wire. Maybe you'll feel the same. Maybe you will feel different. I don't know. But for me, it's like, you know, I,
I
I
just
yeah, go ahead.
I just wanted to say on record, my David, you know what I'm saying? My David Simon, he would never. I'm just saying.
Look at him. Look
I'm
at
just
him.
saying.
Look
That's
at
a
him.
call. That's a callback. That's a callback to season 1 for y'all out there.
Uh,
You think you're gonna do something to big pussy? My pussy?
right. Right. That's a good call. My David.
Yeah, my David. Yeah, all right, yeah, all right. If that was to happen, if David Simon did do something like that,
Mm-hmm.
then yeah. But and to your point, that outside perspective is what really matters. So when you look at a book like All the Pieces Matter,
Mm-hmm.
that's what is missing from Sopranos.
Yes.
Sopranos doesn't have that oral history from everybody. The only person that didn't talk in All the Pieces Matter is the actor Hassan, I forget his last name, who plays Weebay, because he was the only one to say, "Hey man, like I need some bread for this." Everybody else just did it for the free. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm talking to everybody. Michael B. Jordan, everybody
Even the
contributed
rapper
to
from
that book.
Onyx.
I think he might have been in there a little bit.
Okay.
Fredro Starr.
Yeah, Fredro.
Damn, was Fredro in there? I don't think Fredro was in there.
I know he wasn't
But
that
either
big, but
way, nah, I mean that's Bird. That's Bird, man. That's a big deal.
yeah.
So I'm curious now. Now, all right, let me read this before we get out of here. Because I looked at that. I only looked for the bad reviews. I didn't look for anything good.
Okay.
And I found a good one. I haven't read this yet, so I'm reading this in one time. Somebody gave it a 10 out of 10.
Okay.
And now I'm curious as to what they said. It's not a long comment. 10 out of 10. The title's masterful. And here's another issue, real quick, Mo, that I gotta make sure I'm this type of person. They wrote this on September 8th after the doc came out September 7th. Like, let it breathe a little bit.
That's why we didn't.
Because sometimes it's like that. Yeah, let it breathe a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
All right, but I can't knock them. They're doing what we're doing, instant reactions. That's cool.
Okay.
So their comment says, "I've been ready for this after watching Sopranos recently on HBO, almost daily this week, and recently,
There it is.
almost daily this week, and I've seen this series a few times. It's one of the best shows ever. Surprised there wasn't a documentary sooner. David Chase is a genius all around and great director to make this a 2-part documentary. I love the talent put into everything. It's heartwarming, learning about the background, worthy of high ratings, and spectacular vibe all around, as should be from one of the best series. The behind the scenes stuff better be great too. Nice to learn about the darkness more, how they didn't do just for the time's sake of it. Highly recommend this magnificent mini doc series. So that literally just told me that you haven't researched The Sopranos. You've
Yeah.
just watched it,
You never listened to a
and
podcast before. You never
I
listened
think
to
it goes
interviews.
back. That goes back to what I said earlier, Mo.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is for Sopranos 101. This is for the people who have watched the series over and over, but have never delved into their own research, who've never gone to Sopranos autopsy,
Yeah.
have never listened to Talking
Yeah.
Sopranos, all of that. And I think that's who this was geared for. I don't think it was made for the super fans. But I guess my thing to that is, at this point, 25 years later, I only suspect there to be super fans. I'm working the mentality that
When has
everybody's a
David
super
Chase
fan.
ever serviced the surface, the mainstream? When has he ever serviced that? Why? Why now?
Somebody else who gave it a 10 out of 10 said this. I'm just curious. I know we're gonna
Yeah.
wrap it up.
No, yeah,
I'm
yeah,
just
we're
curious
good.
of your thoughts on this. David Chase has always struck me as aloof, but my opinion now is that he's direct and poignant. He won't bend to social pressure. Do you believe that he's direct and poignant, or do you think he is aloof? Because it kind of goes back to what you mentioned. The fans are going to love the Russian coming back. Oh, well, kill it. Don't
Yep.
do it.
Right.
I think there's a little bit of both of that.
I think it is.
It just might come. And then somebody else who gave it a 10 said it was emotionally satisfying. So I think people are just happy to get back into the
Mm-hmm.
world.
Yeah.
They did say this. I just want to say this. My wish is this. Like Alex, or excuse me, the Alex Gibney or someone will do a follow-up like Wise Guy about the wire. Oh, yeah, David Simon ish.
Oh yeah. There
Never
you go.
mind.
Yeah.
Um,
For final thoughts, then. So we'll go with you first.
It was cool. If I gave it a rating, I'd probably give it a 7 out of 10. I enjoyed it, but I like the technical aspect of it. I'll tell you this: if I wasn't a creator, and I'm not, I don't want to say it in the sense of I'm a David Chase type of creator, but as I said at the beginning, we do create podcasts and world, and we just kind of let this thing flow. Um, if I wasn't a creator, maybe I wouldn't enjoy it as much. But I like seeing how are you making these episodes? How are you coming up with these storylines?
Mm-hmm.
What's inspiring some of these moments? How do you take a show as serious as this and still make it funny? I enjoy seeing all of that. I wasn't expecting more, but I also don't. This is your wire for me. So I have to look at it from that sense where I'm invested. I'm always going to be invested. But I like I said earlier, I'll look at it from the sense of I have the show. Worst case scenario, no matter how many times you drop the ball, I can go back to The Sopranos and just rewatch it and enjoy it and research all the things on my own without needing anything else. Yes, would it have been great if you knocked it out the park? Absolutely. Would if you came with a 4-part documentary series and it was phenomenal, some OJ Simpson Made in America type of
Yeah.
style,
Yep. Yep.
where we're really getting into the nitty gritty. And that's another problem, I think, Mo. I think for 25 years worth of time, you need to give us some more. I will say that. You got to give us some more. Because if this is going to be your lasting legacy, if this is the last thing you're going to do, as far as referring to Sopranos, then lay it all out there on the line. Like, you've had 25 years to keep things close to the vest. Like, lay it out there. Like, give it to the people. 25 years. I think you got a fan base that deserves it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think that's just who David Chase is. That's just at the end of the day,
Mm-hmm.
he stuck true to himself.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing I will say about it. But I'm not mad at it. It wasn't the best thing ever. Wasn't the worst thing ever. Will I watch it again? I don't know. I don't know. It would have to be a Sopranos marathon where I watch Sopranos, listen to Good Earners, finish Sopranos, watch Many Saints of Newark, finish that, watch the documentary. I don't know if I will watch this on a standalone.
Yeah, I don't even know. I don't even think marathons exist, bro. At this point, the streaming killed that. Now,
Well, my own personal marathon is what I
your
mean.
own person, like you say, I'm about to like.
Yeah,
I think this would be
I'm
dope
going
for
to rewatch it.
if we're
like I
going to
do.
like a Sopranos con. I feel like that would be like, okay, I'm about to get Sopranos out real quick because there are going to be these individual actors at Soprano Con. Let me.
Yeah, I would love to ask. If I ever went to one, I would love to ask the actors who weren't involved in it what they thought about the documentary.
Yeah, yeah. They're gonna be like, do it look like I was left off bad and bougie? Uh,
Yeah, man. Like so Joey Pants was one that's Ralphie
Pants.
Cifaretto was just way too
Yeah.
important of a character. Big Pussy's way too important of a character.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, scheduling conflicts, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Just love to hear their perspective.
Yeah, yeah.
Even Steve Sharippa.
Yeah. Well, let me say this. David Chase, again, thank you for still putting some out, regardless, putting some out. Thank you, this, Many Saints, Michael Imperioli, Steve Sharippa. Again, thank y'all because y'all did give us some great gems within, kind of having to really skim through it to find it. But y'all did give us great gems, and it turned into a book. In the book, the way y'all pieced it together, it was wonderful. So I am grateful for all of y'all efforts and putting it in. All I'm asking as a viewer and as a fan, sure, am I entitled? Maybe. Do I have a reason? No, but I'm no different than the next person. But what I will say is, to me, it's like do a 8-part series and like have focused themed episodes. Let's talk about one-off characters and let's bring them on and let them have their own episode. You talk about, did you feel blah blah blah? Like you get that whole section of, like BET does the, kind of like the what happened to, and they bring on a person like a Jaquan and his story real interesting. Like, cause you only got, you're one hit wonder, but all of the things that got to line up to be able to make that happen. Give us these one-off characters. Give us a, it don't have to be new. It just has to be more. That's kind of more of where I'm getting at. And I mean more in the sense that you allow others to be a part of this story because they are a part of this story. That's it.
It reminds me of something that ESPN's done before. Like they've done articles about people who played one NFL game.
Yeah.
I was in the NFL for one game. What was that like? Or I think when Peyton Manning broke a record for most TDs all time, they interviewed the people who only caught one touchdown pass from Peyton Manning. Not the big name, just the one. This was my one touchdown pass that I caught from him. What was that like? Do you remember? Like it's just more of a you get that perspective because we talk about the actor who played Patsy.
Yeah, there's another one.
He was a teacher, like he was a professor, like at a college. Like while the Sopranos was on, like students would come to his class on some like, "Yo, are you Patsy Parisi?" Mm-hmm. So I would love to hear about how was your life as you're on one of the biggest shows of all time.
Yeah.
Arguably the greatest show of all time, and you're teaching biology 101. I don't know what he taught, but you get what I'm saying? Like that's just an experience. So that would have been.
We'll get y'all together, man. Cut us a check. We show you how to do it. Because it's been thirsting for a black perspective. Nah, seriously though, thank y'all anyways for still putting some out. I'm obviously one of those listeners that y'all be like, we're gonna disregard all that. Y'all please don't make this viral. If y'all do, chop this clip, don't make it viral. Don't send this to David Chase. If he hears it, whatever happened there. But like, don't make this a viral moment because then it'll get taken out of context. Like the love is not there. The love is there. I spoke to what I like because that can happen. Like somebody be like, oh, this is the perfect. This is exactly how I feel. Don't even do it. Like, just let it ride. If they do, whatever. Like it is what it is. But like this is not that. We got so much love and we've expressed so much over these 5 seasons going to season 6. So. Seriously, because that's how it goes.
You know what I'm thinking of. I can see somebody clipping this up and send it to David Chase, and David Chase looks at it and says, "Fucking niggers."
Like, who is this guy? Who are they?
Obviously, that's a callback to I forget what season that was.
Season 2,
black dude stole season 2 where the black guy stole the car and the white dude.
It might Commendatory, I think. Commendatory, because I think
it was Commendatory because they were getting the cars for them.
Going out there.
Who else would do the son that you paying today? You paying to Tony Soprano just with a big ass grin on his face, like beautiful television.
Yes, and the show is beautiful, y'all. But we truly has been a pleasure to do this. These 2 Back of the Bings, y'all tune in next week. We will be doing our opening season of season 6. So y'all want to email us goodearnerpod@gmail.com, or y'all want to DM us or follow us or hit us up or leave a comment.
Or send us a picture of you in your members only jacket.
Yeah, send us a picture of your members only or your Soprano lure in general. I love stuff like that. And y'all also send us y'all takes. We would love to hear y'all takes on the documentary. Now that we've done our review and maybe some of y'all were waiting, hit us up, email us and say, hey, this is what y'all thought about it. Don't base it off my opinion or Rich's. Have y'all own, opinion, because you don't have to agree with me going crazy like that. Or, Rich, however y'all feel, let it be organic to what y'all think. But hit us up for sure. I want to see what y'all thoughts on the doc was. And again, shout out to the Sopranos, David Chase, and all of the creators there. We thank y'all for tuning in. And remember, don't forget about it.